This Tuesday is the big NXT versus TNA Showdown. They're now calling it. They're doing 2 Survivor Series style elimination matches, 4-on-4. One for the men, one for the women. On Tuesday's show, Ricky Saints and JC Jane were appointed the captains of their respective NXT squads. On the TNA side, the captains are Mike Santana and Kalani Jordan. Yes, NXT's Kalani Jordan. It's like Stone Cold Steve Austin leading the Alliance into Invasion. She will captain Team TNA. She just won the TNA Knockouts Championship at Victory Road. It gets even worse when you look at the other members of the team. They're all former WWE talents. Not a TNA original in the bunch. Santino Marella, who is the director of authority for TNA, he did not want Trick Williams, the TNA World Champion, to captain their team because he doesn't trust him. See, that at least makes sense. That I can understand. Now, on the men's side, it's Team NXT, captained by Ricky Saints, with Trick Williams, Miles Bourne, and Javon Evans. Taking on Team TNA, captained by Mike Santana, with Frankie Kazarian, who is the reigning TNA International Champion, Moose, and the X Division Champion, Leon Slater. Now, Ricky did not choose Trick to be on his team so much as he sort of anointed himself the co-captain. Ricky told him he's the captain and Trick is riding shotgun. But if he's the captain, then he should have had the power to boot him off the team and pick somebody else. Like, I don't know, someone like Obafemi? Like, why would Ricky not want someone like Oba on his team? He just wrestled him. He knows that that's exactly what could help win NXT the match, right? Having somebody like that on your team. No mention of Obafemi, though. On the women's side, it's Team NXT, captained by JC Jane, with Lola Vice, Jada Parker, and Sol Ruka, taking on Team TNA, captained by Kalani Jordan, with the Knockouts Tag Team Champions, the Inspiration, who are the former Iconics, and their partner, Mara Sade. Now, many of you are probably listening to this going, who? At first, that was what I said, until I got a better look at her face, and then I knew who it was. The former Jakara Jackson from NXT, who was released in May. She's back. And then they closed the show with this giant brawl inside the PC with all the TNA and all the NXT folks fighting. And then in the middle of all of this chaos, Shawn Michaels randomly walks out to survey the chaos and all the carnage. It reminded me of when he casually walked out on that episode of Raw, when Brett and Austin and Undertaker and Sid were all fighting. This was after the Brett and Sid cage match, right before WrestleMania 13. Shawn was on the injured reserve. He was still searching for his smile, but he was there that night, and I guess he just felt left out, and so he just walked out in the middle of all this. He had no reason to be there. He just wanted to do something. I see some things never change. Now, Joe Hendry and Jordan Grace are upset that neither of them were chosen to be part of their respective companies' teams. And they were told, because they were there on Tuesday, and they were sort of commiserating together about this, but they were told by the team captains that they didn't know who they were loyal to, so they couldn't pick them. Grace has since been announced by general manager Ava as the special guest referee for the women's match. What could go wrong? What could possibly go wrong? Hendry didn't say what he would be doing, but he has promised that he will appear on Tuesday in some form. He is still technically a member of the TNA roster, but we all know he's going full-time to WWE soon. It's a guarantee. Matt Cardona, he's been showing up on these shows, and actually he's been getting good reactions, but he is not on Team TNA. He did get involved in the Josh Briggs-Miles Bourne match. He stopped Briggs from cheating, which led to him losing, so I could see them maybe adding Cardona against Briggs as a singles match maybe on this show. So here's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking you can't well have TNA lose both Survivor Series matches. I mean, you can. They totally can. They've done a good job of making TNA their bitch for months now. But if TNA is winning one of these matches, it's going to be the women's, I think. Right? It's all made up of current or former WWE talents anyway. Right? And then Team NXT wins on the men's side. So Santana's team loses, but he's taken that TNA World Championship from Trick Williams next weekend at Bound for Glory. So that's when he'll have his revenge. I was looking at the TNA roster. I said the women's team is made up of all current and former WWE names. Realistically, though, who else would they have picked? They weren't picking Tessa Blanchard. It's not a coincidence that she has not been involved in this invasion angle at all. If they were going to pick Masha Slamovich, that went out the window last week. They could have picked Indy Hartwell, but she's also somewhat, of a recent WWE name. Same with Li Ying Lee. They didn't have a lot of great options as far as bigger names go. I mean, they have some women that have not been with WWE, but no one of any great, rank on the TNA roster. Tessa and Masha would have been it, and that just wasn't going to happen. Now, Ethan Page is defending his NXT North American Championship against Mustafa Ali. I really liked Ali's promo on Tuesday. He brought up how he was owed a shot at the title because 2 years ago, if you remember, he was supposed to challenge Dominic Mysterio at No Mercy for the North American Championship, and Shawn Michaels was going to have him win it too. And they both got blindsided by the news of Ali's release. I like that. I like that callback because it's real. People can buy into it. And in the promo, he said, I don't know, maybe I'm cursed. You know what? He has been cursed. That's a shoot. It's going all the way back to when he was supposed to win that gauntlet match on SmackDown years ago. This was like 2019. He was going to get into the Elimination Chamber until Randy Orton had that match with him on SmackDown and stomped his face in. You know who got his spot instead? Kofi Kingston. And that launched Kofi Mania and got Kofi a WWE Championship. Now, would that have been Ali? Would Ali have been the WWE champion? Probably not. But that chamber spot would have been his. Would have been a big opportunity for him. Later that same year, Money in the Bank. He gets to the building that day and they tell him he's going over. He's winning the briefcase. And everybody in the match is congratulating him as they're planning out all their spots. And then he gets to the gorilla position right before he's about to literally walk out to the ring. And Vince McMahon pulls him aside and says, change of plans, pal. Someone's going to come out. They're going to knock you off the ladder. That someone turned out to be Brock Lesnar. That's how we got Boombox Brock. And then he gets fired right before a PLE match where he was supposed to win the North American Championship. Yeah, I'd say that's pretty cursed. The man is not lying. And I would put the belt on him here, but I think Page is retaining. He has a feud going on right now with Dr. Wagner Jr. from AAA. I don't know that they want to disrupt that. The other reason I don't think they're doing it is because they're saving the title change, I think, for the tag team match. Because it's going to be title for title with the Hardys, the TNA Tag Team Champions, against Dark State, the NXT Tag Team Champions. I think the Hardys are winning those NXT Tag Team titles. The Hardys are as much a WWE team as they are a TNA team. And if WWE is going to allow any TNA talents to hold their titles, which I don't believe they have allowed yet, I think they could live with those talents being Matt and Jeff Hardy. I think they're a pretty safe choice. So that's the lineup. Because Dynamite is being bumped to Tuesday this week, I'm going to be live on YouTube that night covering AEW for sure. But I think I may watch and review both shows. I did that 2 years ago and I vowed I would never do that again. I said never again. Last year, at least, the shows only overlap by an hour. But this year, they're back to just completely head-to-head again for the 2 hours. I'm going to try to watch them at the same time and take notes on both. And then we'll do Tuesday Night Titans on Wednesday this week instead. But this is a big week for TNA. Not only are they doing the Invasion special on Tuesday with NXT, but they have their Bound for Glory pay-per-view next Sunday, which I am probably also going to go live that night for, like I did Slammiversary. I got to see Mike Santana get his big moment. We're getting an X Division Championship match on that show between Leon Slater and Javon Evans. I got to see that too. That's just going to be ridiculous. That's coming off Slater wrestling the Amazing Red on Friday at the House of Glory show. So it's a big week for him. The Hardys against the Dudleys in a tables match, which is supposed to be the Dudleys' final match together ever. Devon's last match, at least. And in the main event of that show, Trick Williams is defending the TNA World Heavyweight Championship against Mike Santana. And if you did not see it, they aired a tremendous vignette on Impact this week that Santana filmed at the NYC Arena in Queens, in the ring, as Amazing Red was pacing back and forth behind him, letting him know that names like him and Homicide and Low Key, they kicked the door open for Santana. And Red and Homicide were ringside at Slammiversary when Santana lost. And he said, we were so disappointed. You know, he and Homicide wasted their time being there. Santana let someone walk into his house in New York, no less, and take from him. And Red said that at Bound for Glory, Trick Williams is going to walk in the front door to Santana's house. He's going to do unspeakable things. He's going to slap Santana's daughter on the way out. He said this isn't about anybody but Mike Santana. Can't do this for his father. He can't do this for anybody. He has to do it for himself. When he wins the title, everything will be back in order. Go get that title. Go bring it home. So this, with all the video clips they spliced in here, it was a tremendous piece of business. It was a good 5 minutes long. Definitely give it a watch if you didn't see it. My only hope here is that Lowell, Massachusetts gives his win the reaction that it deserves. The reaction that it would have gotten had they done it in New York this summer. And on top of all of that, I mentioned, what a big week it is for TNA. TNA President Carlos Silva, in regards to a new media rights deal, told TV Insider, "We are now in active negotiations with a partner, and we are going to work through that. I can't really put a timeline on how long that will take. The good news is the process has started. We are no longer just talking to a bunch of people to sort of gauge interest. Now we have an interested partner, and we are working through potentially a deal for 2026. It's going to happen as soon as it can happen. We were working on it as recently as yesterday, exchanging papers and trying to figure it out. We're excited about it and keep pushing it forward to get this over the finish line. It's done when it is over the finish line." Now, if the goal is to start in 2026, they would have to announce it pretty soon. If it's close enough, if the deal is close enough to being consummated, I wonder if they make the announcement next weekend, to time it with Bound for Glory. Because over the summer, the rumors had A&E and the CW network as the interested parties, both of which are affiliated with WWE. The CW is, where NXT airs. So, it shouldn't be much of a surprise if they land on either one of those two networks. I've always believed that WWE and Nick Khan, they were actively doing what they could to assist TNA with those negotiations. I believe that. The more they work with TNA and the more visibility the TNA product gets, the more it benefits WWE and potentially hurts AEW if they were to move Impact to Wednesday nights. Do not rule that out. I could absolutely see them moving the show from Thursdays to Wednesdays. Now, he also said that any new deal would allow them to potentially go live 52 weeks out of the year. Not that they would, but that it would allow for it. And that they have to close a deal with whoever it is before the end of this year, because the deal they're contemplating would start at the beginning of 2026. So the announcement is coming soon. And that could be a game changer for TNA because, and I've always said this, that being on Access TV has been a real barrier to growth for this company. The partnership with WWE has gotten them greater visibility, and it's definitely helped sell more tickets to some of their shows, but it all comes down to TV. They've never been bigger than when they were on Spike TV. And if they can get a better TV deal, the room for real growth will be there.